Hello, Jeremy Vicious. I hope you can talk for 5 minutes because I need some feedback on my audio and visual. I'll tell a little Twitter humor while you're waiting. 3 weeks ago, George Webb was on the Peter Duke show, and Peter Duke asked him how it is and how it was going. And George said, Peter. And he said, how bad is it, George? And George responds, oh, it's real bad. It's again, the trolls are coming at me from every direction. They've thrown everything they can at me. Sink. And a day later, or maybe 2 days later, what happens? Elon Musk goes into Twitter headquarters carrying the kitchen sink. Now I'm not sure he's ready to throw it at George. I don't think he has the arm strength. But the fact is, George said it one day, and the next day, Elon shows up with a kitchen sink. Could there be a connection? You never know. So how's the audio? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Jeremy Vicious. Are you getting any audio at all? Is that any better? Well, better than the last time, because the last stream I had my audio cut out after 4 minutes. All right, while you're waiting, I have another article up here at the Greeks website talking about conflict of interest. But wait a minute. I understand the question. I'm going to do it for the next minutes. I'm going to put up random things about the Georgia election just to test the audio and the visual with various settings. But you go ahead and ask me questions. Okay, Dave, how about now? Can you hear me now? Are you getting anything at all? Okay, you can hear me. Is it clicking? Click, 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 click. Dave Fitz, are you getting a click, click, click sound? All right. So I don't know why. Hi, Marie. So I'm going to put up just a couple of regarding the Georgia election. I'm going to just talk for 10 minutes about the election to call it a night. All right, so we have Barry the Greek's last article talking about conflict of interest. And if there's one thing that really, between 1970 and today, it's conflict of interest. Here we have the sister, well, not actually blood sister. She's the very best friend of Stacey Abrams. Her name is Lawrence Hardy. And Lawrence Hardy's kids call Stacey Abrams Aunt Stacy. So they are very close. Curious that just a few weeks ago, Lawrence Hardy became a member of the Carter Center. The Carter Center is partly an extension of the United Nations. Carter, obviously, for Jimmy Carter, and it's associated with the Carter Presidential Library. So this gal, her best friend, Stacey Abrams' best friend, is part of the Carter Center, which just signed the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, with the Georgia Department of State, which is more or less responsible for the election results, tabulating the election results. So this treaty gives the Carter Center the authority, very broad authority, to handle the logistics of the campaign, of the voting process in every precinct in Fulton County, Georgia. There was a special meeting of the Fulton County government a few days ago with members of the Carter Center in the room. And luckily, about 25 citizens of Fulton County, including Amber Counter, found out about this meeting and participated. They rushed to go and participate in the meeting and to give public comment. And we aired that on Thursday afternoon, the public comment section. I do broadcast and redo the portion of the public comment because some of them got skipped, and they are all of it. That meeting will have historical impact. The 7-page letter that they wrote in response to the Fulton County government's that was a very good letter, and I think that will one day wind up in the National Archives. Go back to Lawrence organization found CA for $25 million for 2 years. Okay, and right now and Kemp. Two days reference. Okay, can you still hear me? Sound check. Dave Fitz, can you hear me? All right, I'll just keep going for 5 more minutes. And if you cannot hear me, let me know. All right, here we have a major with the best friend of Stacey Abrams effectively counting the votes. Now you're going to say, John, she herself count the votes. There are people associated with the Carter Center, lots of different people, most of them U.S. citizens, who are going to be counting the votes. And Lawrence Hardy sits on the board of the Carter Center. She doesn't actually count the votes themselves. But there is always that Allegra will have some, because we are human beings, because no process is airtight. There are always real-time, day of the game, play-by-play calls to be made. I'll choose one at random. A water main breaks, and you've got to move the operation a few hundred feet down. There are always opportunities where a member of the Carter Center would have the final call, because the memorandum of understanding gives very broad powers. They can tell for example, if there's a GOP watchdog or a Democrat watchdog, either one, doing his or her job, the member of this oversight committee can ask the person to leave the auditorium or the precinct and to leave the premises. This is wide-ranging authority. It's almost as if Georgia were a third world country. So the people that spoke before Amber said no, we're not a third world country. We're capable of managing our elections and of providing the watchdog oversight for our own elections. Thank you very much, United Nations. We're sure you mean well, but we don't need your help. So I'm going to have, in my house, I'm going to have that 7-page letter framed of Em Connor and her associates. They're okay, Dave. How's the sound? Still good? BlackRock. Having BlackRock on your board of your nonprofit is already very suspicious, because a nonprofit, the very idea of a nonprofit in the U.S., I'm referring specifically to 501c3, Charlie 4, Charlie 6. The idea is that you are providing a service which allows the citizens to fill some need that usually the Fortune 500 and the large financial institutions are trying to overtake. Okay. For example, we know that the big the big agriculture industries are trying to take over a lot of farms in Georgia. So you might start a nonprofit in order to help small farmers keep their land so that they can be productive and they can offer non-GMO food. So the very idea of a nonprofit, of having BlackRock of all institutions, BlackRock on your board of your nonprofit, there's something very wrong here. Very, very wrong. Grace Fix, Access to Capital. Jim Grien, TM Capital. Aziz Hashim, NRD Capital. This is not your typical nonprofit. And in Italy, experience, 32 years, I've watched the net income, the net income of the bottom 92, or what I'm trying to say, the combined net income of the of Italians has gone down by $1.85 trillion since 1973. Now, if you were running a small company, or if you're running, let's see, a small city, and your city spends a lot of money every year, but at the end of the average, the net worth of your citizenry has gone down and down and down, and getting worse. All the public for 50 years, average net income has gone down. The average citizen has gone down rapidly, and still people aren't waking up. A lot of people are waking up. They see what the Union has done. They see how the European Constitution was constructed not to protect the rights of the citizen against the state, but to emphasize the duties of the citizen towards the state. That, it's slowly sinking in. A lot of, I'd say at least percent of Italians my age know that the Fortune 500 in Europe and the big banks and the Bank of International Criminals, I mean settlements, is driving this decrease, this negative prosperity. We're, instead of, even though we vote, we do not vote for the people, the people that we would like to vote for. We elect the people who elect the people who elect the people that go to the European Parliament. The MEP. We don't vote them directly. And look, it's just a coincidence that every single MEP had at least one great-grandfather who was in the nobility, a duke or a count or prince. And most of them were eugenicists. So I think it's important here. I think it's important here for the citizens of Georgia to capture this moment, this very narrow window of time, so that they can point out the gross, the huge conflicts of interest here by having Stacey Abrams' best friend sit on the board of the Carter Center, which counts the votes in Fulton County, and B, having BlackRock and four other major capital firms sit on the board of the Carter Center. If Atlanta is not, if we are going to avoid that Atlanta become the center of the North American, then it's time for the citizens to take concrete and cohesive action to get off the couch, get out, talk to your neighbors, start the ball rolling on getting a group together that can put together a well-formed, well-written document to present to the city, to the county, to say, we are in charge again now. We are the citizens of this county. We demand to have a say in what the Carter Center cannot do, what it can do and cannot do, and we want integrity restored in our voting process. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to my short spiel. This was just a sound check. I'm going to do an actual show tomorrow at some point. Stay tuned for the email. Be good. Do good work. Keep the faith. Oh, that's the other thing I want to mention tomorrow. It's not just Dems on the thing here. What the Eugene Yu case will show is that it's GOP backers as Dems, and in Boston, in those laboratories that Connect is connected to, there's almost as many Republican donors as there are Democrats. Anyway, have a good night, Dave. Take good care.